Hello and a very good afternoon to all of you. My name is Shreya Pilani. I'm the business leader for the Outstanding Speakers Bureau and your host for this event. I welcome you all to this very special edition of TUSP Conversations. Today, we are here to mark the International Women's Day by doing what we love to do the most, that is, making conversations that matter. The theme for this year's IWD is Choose to Challenge. Now, it's a very interesting theme because not only does it encourage us to look in the space inside us, but it also makes us think how we can create a bigger impact towards making this more gender equal world. We are going to be in conversation with some of the most eminent, inspiring voices who are going to tell us what is the power, how can they actually incite a change by choosing to challenge and speak up on gender inequality. The conversations, the sessions that have been lined up today are to celebrate women's achievements, the trailblazers who have shattered stereotypes, but also the individuals who are the advocates who have been instrumental in creating these networks and communities for empowering more and more women to bring about this change. Let's set the ball rolling and get into our first session. The first session is I Choose to Challenge by Building Communities. The last decade has seen a massive growth in women-centric communities. These networks reach women across economic divides, social stigmas, and ageist stereotypes. Create safe spaces where women can speak up, fight prejudice, find guidance, and new opportunities for growth. In this session, we explore the central role of women communities in building a more gender-equal world. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce the panelists to you. Our first panelist for this session is Mandy Sanghera. Mandy is an award-winning philanthropist, consultant, and global campaigner. Over the last 3 decades, Mandy has driven innovation, strategic partnerships, advocacy, and programming across the globe in the areas of human rights, gender equality, accountability, and social justice. Mandy runs a very successful empowerment hour where she holds regular conversations with women leaders across the globe. Next on our panel is Renu Shah. Renu Shah is the founder for Shakti, the Empathy Project, an incubation program founded in 2019 for women entrepreneurs in the early stage of their startups, working towards finding solutions to social problems. She also co-founded Project Pehel, a collaborative model to improve learning outcomes in government schools. Prior to that, she led Changemakers Schools program for South Asia for Ashoka Innovators for the Public. Next on our panel is Amit Jain. Amit Jain is the co-founder for Mitti Ke Rang, a social venture working towards generating livelihood for women. After losing his father at a very young age, young Amit witnessed his widowed mother struggle to raise her children and resolved to bring a permanent change in the lives of widows and fatherless children. And he has done so well that Mitti Ke Rang has today spread to 9 countries. And now, this is our most vibrant moderator, Eka Chaturvedi Banerjee. She's the founder and CEO of Ekam, a wisdom company from India for the world. Eka was formerly the CEO of Future Learning and has 21 years of rich business and entrepreneurship experience, which is coupled with certifications as a leadership coach, a mythologist, and a Chevening Gurukul Fellow from the University of Oxford. I welcome the panel and Eka. Please turn on your videos and the mics, and over to you, Eka. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya, and what a powerful introduction to the IWD and the hashtag Choose to Challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming in and joining us for this panel. Thank you for being part of the Choose to Challenge movement. Thank you for all the support that you've given for women, for empowerment, for gender livelihoods. And we'll be talking a lot about that over the next 35-40 minutes. I've always believed that there are these two intersecting circles and worlds that we inhabit. The first is the world of me, the world that just we went through, which has 3 levels to it. So there's the world that's me, all that me, my personal health, wellness. The Bhagavad Gita calls it the concept of the kshetra, that which I control. The second circle is those that are mine. So my family, my friends, people that are my intimate, immediate circle of concern. And then beyond that is the mankind, which is people we work with, people we know, and humanity at large. And those are those three spheres, the three kshetras in which we as individuals exist. And while that's our individual structure, there's a very interesting organization structure that we all follow. And all of us work, whether it's corporate organizations, government organizations, or development organizations. But in our working spaces, there are three structures that three communities, three circles that we're a part of. The first is content. What do you really have to say or do or offer to the world? The second is communication, how you say it, what are the channels, how do you reach out to reach out and fulfill the purpose of your organization. And the third is the communities. Who are you talking to? Who are you working to? What are your tribes? And I always find it very fascinating that the space at which my personal self interacts with my organizational self is the space of community, is the space where my personal concern for humanity at large, for people I work with, I see, explore, feel strongly about, and the causes that I choose to work with on come together. And that's really where we find fulfillment. I feel very, very privileged today to be talking to Amit and Renu and Mandy, who've done such fabulous work with the communities within which they operate. So let me now hand over and actually ask them what they do and what is that one challenge that we could help resolve for their community. So Amit, being the, like I said, the dubious distinction of being the only male on the panel for IWD, you of course have the privilege of going first. And do tell us about your personal interest in Mitti Ke Rang, about what it does, and what's that one challenge that we can help you resolve among us.
Right. Thank you so much. Basically, hi, all. My name is Amit, and I run a social venture which is Mitti Ke Rang. And what we do is we have an e-commerce platform wherein the women entrepreneurs from all over India, whatever product they sell, we give a platform to them to sell it all across the globe, which definitely helps them to save a lot of time because while I was backpacking across India, I met a lot of women entrepreneurs. And one common problem, which I came across with everybody was they want to do something, but how do they sell it? They sell through Instagram and WhatsApp, but technical platform would definitely help them to save a lot of time. So that is what we do. And what motivated me, so losing father at an early age, I came to Pune in 2012 to look for a job. Then luckily got a job. And after running from 2014 till 2019, I left my job in 2019 to take this full time. Well, I told my family that my company is kicking me out because they will never agree with the fact that I'm leaving my job, but I really wanted to leave and just try and explore if I can do something with this. And one challenge which we have been facing now has been expanding into more territory because now we have holy campaign, a lot of campaigns coming in, but we are just looking for more supporters and how we all can come together and support women entrepreneurs from rural region and connect them with international and local markets. So yeah, that's what we do and all about me.
So Amit, what's that? Okay, you can think about this because I will come back to you to ask you what's that one challenge that she can help solve for you. And then, by the way, there's also a surprise question for you, Renu and these things. You should be prepared for that. Thank you, Amit. Renu, would you like to talk to us about Shakti? It's a very powerful name. So where does empathy come in, and how does empathy and Shakti come together? How do you work it out, and what's your challenge?
Sure. So it's really nice to be on this panel today, and I'll quickly introduce what we do. What we are doing is Shakti, the Empathy Project, as it is called, is actually an incubation program for early stage women-led startups, creating social impact. Now, our purpose is to create a very supportive environment for these startups to survive the initial phase, which is really difficult for any entrepreneur. Our program is 6 months long, and it rests on the 5 pillars of empathetic community, capacity building, mentorship, role modeling, networking, and funding opportunities. How did I get here to starting this is partly linked to my own journey of being a social entrepreneur for a while. I actually became a social entrepreneur full time in 2007 or 2008. And I realized that these were all the things that I craved for. When I became a social entrepreneur, I did not have my tribe to share my wins with. I did not have a mentor to share my challenges with. And, I took so many years and so many more conversations to realize that things hadn't changed much. And that's when I thought, oh my God, this is time that I should do something about it. So you asked and I think you put that emphasis on empathy, and that's what our whole work is. There are two parts to it. One, empathy, because it is emanating out of my own experiences. And the second is also being empathetic to the world we live in. So that's why we are an incubation for women and who are doing work which has social impact. So that's what's the empathy for the world and empathy for self and empathy for each other is very important to us. And that's why we've created it. It is a program run by, led by women and for women. The next thing that you asked is one challenge. We started recently, like 2 years ago, and we definitely feel that we want to expand our scope of work to more tier 2 and tier 3 towns. And that's what we were looking at.
Yes, I've been taking notes on this. I'm going to come back to you with how we can do this. Hi, Mandy. Tell us, Mandy.
Thank you.
I was there was this whole empowerment, the concept of the empowerment hour. And I'm very, very curious to know, what does the empowerment hour do? How does this work? How did you come into this?
Okay, so
what's your challenge?
Okay, so for me, first of all, I've been very lucky that actually I have smashed a glass ceiling and it's become a floor for other people to follow me. And actually, for me, one of the things that I have realized is that once you get to the top, it's very important that we send the elevator down to pick up other women and the other people, especially young people, to come along behind you. I'm actually known as the woman lifting the next generation off the sticky floor, because actually one of the things that I do now is tackle the social, economic, and all the other barriers stopping, especially women, achieving their goals and their dreams. So Empowerment Hour started on Twitter. It was something where we started to have weekly debates and talk about real social issues. And it was really important to look at bringing men, young people, and whatever your religion, your gender, your ethnicity, whether you're able-bodied, disabled, to me, it was a safe space for people to have a conversation. So for me, I'm an international human rights activist who's been campaigning for over 32 years. I keep thinking I'm retiring, but it doesn't seem like it, because I'm doing more and more now. And for me, life is about following your dharma, which is your life purpose. And I feel very passionate, because when you find passion and purpose, you become unstoppable and your life becomes really amazing. So for me, it is now about paying it forward, pulling people up with behind me, and also addressing, there are not just in India, but around the world, even in the West, and we know that women are paid 23% less than men. We know the global pandemic has brought inequalities to the surface like never before. So for me, it's really important that I'm in a position that I address those real issues. So for me, the challenge is, and the challenge that I choose is that actually I want to make sure that no one's left behind, that actually everyone is being able to live their life for their full potential and being given real opportunities and not just lip service.
Wow, that's intense and powerful. And I was just thinking, as I was listening to Amit and to Mandy, and work that I also do in the space of gender empowerment, micro enterprise, resonance, versions of this. I think we have a solution to each other right here. And I'm just seeing how Amit is looking at how he could be helped with some kind of a platform where more women entrepreneurs can be gotten to him, and there can be economic empowerment. I see Renu, who's looking for entrepreneurs that she can get to incubators and expand out in tier 2 and tier 3 India. I have you, Mandy, who provides empowerment, who's looking to pick women up from here, and as you say, the elevator ride up. I think that's very evocatively put. I'm just thinking that between the four of us, we have the solutions to everything that the women entrepreneurship-led ecosystem and livelihood and employment generation seeks. So here's my as they say, the surprise question to you. Mandy, what is that one change if if you were looking back at your life 10 years down, I know you spoke about retirement and you don't ever see yourself getting retired every time that you think you're close to it. So what is that one blink achievement, success factor, change that you think you would have made or would like to have seen in another 10 years? What's that one challenge or change that you want to bring
Okay,
up
so
on?
I mean, I feel very blessed and very grateful to God for a great life. And one of the things that I have realized is that actually, once I went and spoke at the UN many, many years ago, that was a great achievement. And I thought, wow, how amazing. Then I got invited to speak at the House of Representatives, European Parliament, and spoke around, did a TED talk. I did lots of great things, and everything that I ever dreamed of has happened. So to me, I realized that actually I've got to pay it forward, because actually I realize that I'm incredibly blessed and lucky. But one of the things that I'm very proud of is I'm one of the founders of the UK Forced Marriage Unit, because actually gender-based violence, harmful practices, early child forced marriage is a global issue. 65 million young women will be married before their 18th birthday, and we know that that is an issue around the world. And one of the things that I have been able to do is write policy, change laws, and be really involved in really innovative and creative things. So to me, it's about legacy and it's about impact. But again, for me, I also believe in mentoring and empowering and making sure that people have a seat at the table. I'm also very passionate about having men a part of the solution. So it's great to see Amit, and I know that he's done great work, and I have followed his work over the years. And one of the things that I find really fascinating is that we have to educate young men to become feminists, to become a part of the solution and not be seen as a part of the problem. So to me, it is really important that we leave no one behind, because when we want change in places like India, in Afghanistan, and the global south, in Latin America, or in Africa, sometimes men are the gatekeepers, and sometimes we have to work with them to find solutions. And also be very clear that this has nothing to do with religion. This is cultural practices. These are out of date. And I think one of the greatest things that I would personally say that I've achieved is actually being able to go and talk to anyone, regardless of what their status is, what their ethnicity, what their gender is, because actually I treat everyone the same. And I feel that that is probably something that I'm probably really proud of, that actually I don't care who you are, whether you're the prime minister, the king of a country or whatever, that actually I treat you the same, and actually I get the same result. So I think that that would be my kind of thing for answer to your question.
That, Mandy, is immensely powerful and very, very inspiring, and really more power to you. And from there, actually, I want to go back to Amit. Amit, why did you? I mean, for up that specific space of women entrepreneurs. I mean, it might have been just much easier to pick up another tribe, another community. It takes a lot of courage. As Mandy said, that there's a whole 50% of the population that also needs to be brought along and carried with us, right? So it would have been much easier for you to pick up an easier path. So what makes you choose as a platform, as a market aggregator for women entrepreneurs and to provide them with livelihood? I suspect it's part of your journey. I know you spoke about your father's death and seeing your mother's struggle about it. But what was it? Why this? And where would you see it build out?
Right. So there are two reasons. First, after my father passed away, so my grandfather opened a shop for my mother, which was a tailoring shop, and that was a very tiny shop, but that really helped us to survive with in terms of education and all. And the family was a great support till my 21 age. The complete food accommodation was given by them, and even on my close on my birthday, these things seems very small. Okay, that's not big, but when you go through that, you realize that you have been living in that 24/7. So that was one. And second, we realize like a widow, if you could say, at every home we have a widow in terms of a mother, grandmother, or someone, but no one's talk about them because people think that's not a problem. But when you are into that, you have survived and you have seen the things which happens, that comes into your mind naturally. So this were two motivation to start. One was video advocacy, that you have a video, you can talk about that, not a problem. Second, I have seen my mother getting open a tailoring shop, that how that income helped us with education, with stationery and everything. Even in 1 rupee, 2 rupee was a great amount at that time. And third was when I came to Pune, I got a good job after surviving for a month. Then mom came to Pune, and then we realized that a lot of people have been a great support till now. It's time to give back. The idea started very small, and very honestly, when we started in 2014, I just thought I'll do this for 1 or 2 years. I'll go for my masters because at that time money was everything for me because we have seen nothing. But over the period when we just keep doing, and now we are where we are. Yeah.
My apologies. So I'm going to ask Amit the same question that I actually asked men. If, for the huge challenge that you've taken on, what's the change you would like to have seen 10 years from now? So what's Mitti Ke Rang? Where do you see it go? How does it look like? What's the change you've brought about to the world in 10 years?
Right. So the like the change which we feel personally as in Mitti Ke Rang, even if we could help one women entrepreneur to survive, to get the product on board, because we have worked so much with women across the geographical region. One problem which we realized very honestly that everything aside, if they're getting the income to survive, that is what they want 90%. So we thought, okay, we have this product, and the major target would be on board, not more and more, but less, but give the more and more impact. For example, for the Holi campaign, we were able to like sell 200 boxes in like 6 days for the Holi. So the women group in Uttarakhand who is making that, last year they couldn't sell because of COVID. But now with the network we have, we are able to sell 6 days, 200 plus boxes, which even we couldn't believe that we did that. So this one by one, we are planning at least for 10 years, 12 years. We'll be taking one festival on board, one campaigns on board, and how we can scale that. And lastly, one quote which I've been following from a long time: make net connections when you don't need the most. Then you talk to people with your heart and not with the intensity of getting something from them. So that is what we have been doing from 2014, and will be doing continuously going forward. And we would be helping more women with selling of the products in that way.
Wow. And I'm going to come back, but for now, I'd really like Renu for you to share. And you've mentioned very candidly that the incubator that you run is for women entrepreneurs, and your challenge is that you would like to spread out further in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. But what's your vision? What does change look like 10 years from now?
Muted.
Have we lost you?
Yeah. I think Amit has partly answered that, so that's a good job done over there. But I'll tell you some data, and I know everybody hates data, but I'll just simplify it for whatever reasons. So 50%, almost 50%, 48% is what is the population of females in India, and only 1 out of 7 is a woman entrepreneur. We are talking about building a $5 trillion economy without the participation of this 48%. So to me, at the macro level, that's what it is. If you look at the World Economic Forum's 2020 report, we are at the bottom. We are at 147th position out of 152 countries surveyed in economic opportunities and participation for women. So 10 years from now, I want to see something different. And that is only possible if we are able to build a supportive environment. So we want to continue to work for the next 10 years or 20 years, I don't know. And in my lifetime, I won't say 10 years, but I would definitely say in my lifetime, I want to see change, that these numbers, they change a little bit, they shift, and the survival rate of women entrepreneurs grows. Overall, the survival rate is 4%. And now if you add women, if you add Indian culture, context, and all of that, I don't even know where to start from. So, if we really, from just being passive recipients and, people saying that we're supporting women, no, I don't want that narrative anymore. 10 years from now, I don't want to hear that anymore. I want to hear that we are equal contributors to the economy. And that is possible if people like all of us sitting here, if we continue to do what we do. And that's what I want to see in the future.
And that's very inspiring again. And like I said, the 3-4 of us and the TOSB network and their partners, I think we have an entire ecosystem here. Our own community of women entrepreneurs, their incubation, their marketplace, their mentoring, and then taking them to the next level. spreading the word out. So all of us, as in the 4 5 of us, people on people who are listening in, so all of us around this room are in some way or have made our contributions, have been inspired by communities, have worked at creating communities, curating them, cascading their work out. That's what most of us are doing. But my question to you, and Mandy, I'll start with you on this one. How does one inspire? So, like you said, you've been inspired, Mandy, to make sure that every young woman gets her own elevator to the top.
Yeah.
And that's what you're working at. But how do we, what's been your mantra for inspiring people to build their own communities? They don't need to be women-led communities, but figuring out their causes and the cause that they're passionate about, and then creating a community around it. How does that happen? How do
So
we
I
do
think there's a couple of things that you've really touched on that are really important. And I think one of the things is that people need to look at their network, actually, because your network becomes your net worth. And it's really important that you look around you in your social capital or your network or whatever you call it, who's around you to help you to achieve a particular goal. So say, for instance, that I was looking for to lose weight, and then I would look in my network. If I knew a personal trainer, I would go to that person. But nobody in my inner circle is around me, is going to help me to achieve that. I don't know somebody even in my friend circle, but actually on my network of LinkedIn, there's somebody who's connected to me and actually is running programs. It's about using different skills to do that. But one of the other things what I would say is actually do not be shy to go and approach somebody, because actually the worst that somebody can say to you is no. And I always say this to young people, and especially the class of 2020 and the class of 21 now, who have been affected by the global pandemic like never before. Graduates not able to get jobs, not get those first opportunities. So I feel like what I say to young people, look, don't be shy, because actually that shows resilience, it shows skills, and also look at all the transferable skills that you have developed. So like Amit, he started as a program, like traveling through India, whichever way, building his network. And now if he needs a solution, he could then think, actually, do you know what, when I went to Mumbai, I actually remember meeting Kirti there, or actually when I went to Delhi, I know, Sharia, or I know somebody else in England, I know Mandy. So it's about that, building your network to help you to achieve the goal that you really need to. It's also about collaboration and partnership. And this is the one thing that I find very disappointing sometimes. I meet some of the most amazing women who will mentor and support women and help other people, unconditionally without thinking about it. But then I also see women who have made it to the top, who will never pull the elevator back down or help to support another woman. And when I say to these women, why are you not helping somebody? And she'll say, I work so hard, why should I help somebody? And I said, if you know that challenge is that difficult, you know all the challenges that you have faced, why are you not helping somebody else? Because this is the thing that really actually frustrates me, to be honest, is, sometimes people get to the top and they're holding onto the chair, they're not willing to pull the chair out. And I always say to people, please become somebody who pulls out the chair to make somebody feel like somebody. Even if somebody doesn't feel like they bring something to the table, just by giving them a seat at the table, next time they may have something to contribute. It's about you creating a space, creating opportunities, and not just saying it. This is about actually really saying what you're doing. And that's been the secret to one of my successes for 30 odd years, is that actually I'm a no nonsense kind of person. I kind of say what I can. And if I can't do something, if I cannot actually achieve what somebody wants, then I will say, look, actually, do you know what? I'm not the best person, but I think I know somebody in my network. And finally, just before I go, is I would say, we build our own relationships with different people. And sometimes people may know somebody. So like I might know Renu and think, wow, Renu's really well connected. She's got all these connections. I'm not going to introduce her to Amit, because actually Renu's my connection. But you need to understand the relationship that I have with Renu will be different to what Amit will have. And we don't own people. People will make their own relationships. People will build their own network, build their own capital, social capital and networks. So what I would say to people, please pay it forward. If you know somebody is a better fit for an organization, somebody can help somebody else to achieve their goal, it's not just a responsibility, but you really need to do that. It's just the way the world works. You pay it forward, I promise you, you will get 10 times back. That is how it works. So that's all I would like to say.
Excellent, Mandy. And before we let you go, here's a rapid fire quick question. Personal hashtag on I choose to challenge for the year. What are you choosing to challenge now?
Okay, so I would like to challenge unconscious biases, because actually one thing that we have realized in 2020, race and all these inequalities have come to the surface around the world. There has been, people, not just, all over the world, people have become nationalist. In the UK, we have had this, poison of Brexit, where people now feel like you don't belong here, or this is our country. I'm born and raised in this country. I'm a British person. Just because my family come from India and Pakistan does not make me any less British. But for me, it's about actually promoting equality. And also, we're in the decade of action. We are in, the decade to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And if there are 17 to achieve, number 5 is the one that I do the high five for, and it's around promoting gender equality. But actually, the other one that I'm very passionate about is SG10, about tackling inequalities. Because actually, what COVID-19 has done, it has brought the inequalities to the surface like never before. Education. There are children, not just in India, but in the UK and every country around the world who has been affected. We have to make sure that those children are not left behind. There are other issues like climate change. And what I would say to people, there are 17, and I'm sure that there is one that somebody would be interested in, and everyone to find a goal they're interested in to actually help us to achieve it. That would be, my advice to people going forward. And it really is important that, data is really important, because actually one of the things I'm going to be doing is I'm doing a hackathon with teens in AI. We're working with the next generation right now. And we've got a hack happening in India, in Mumbai as well. And I'm going jump over to a call in Pakistan in a minute. And we've just done a hack in Syria. So, when people think about these areas where there's no opportunities, we can give hope to children. We can give hope to the next generation. And data and using AI for social good is the way forward. And we have to make sure that entrepreneurs are being, supported. There are a lot of networks to support people like Amit, and it's about tapping into the right networks. There is funding there. Sometimes it's about collaborating. It's about working in partnership. And one of the things that I have learned, and I always say to people, when we bring our ingredients together to bake something, we can make something. But actually, if I was sitting there with just my crumbs, I'm not going to be able to achieve anything. So it's really important that we collaborate, pay it forward, work in partnership, and more important than anything else, that you pay it forward. And if you're listening here and you're in a position to help somebody like Amit or Nirnu or yourself, it is really important that people reach out and support, because actually, that's the one thing that has been amazing, that the pandemic has also created opportunities for people to connect with people that they would never have been able to.
Sure, and immensely. Then we're going to jump straight to Amit. And Amit, I'll ask you the same question. That first one of saying how, and the story of inspiration and struggle in the way you've brought Mitti Ke Rang together. What does it take? What does it take to inspire people to build communities? How do they bring their causes aligned and together to create a community around it, to create a movement around it?
Right. Over the course of period, if I have learned something, like, what is the biggest truth in the world? So this quote I've been following again from a long time, like, what is the biggest truth in the world? And which is, everything is a lie. Like, sab jhoot hai. Because whatever we have been taught from the birth, you should do that, you will get that. You do that, you get that. Every time I keep, changing, and people told, you can't do this, you can't leave your job, you can't travel backpack across India, you can't, do this, do that. So that's what I learned over the course of period. That's first. And second would be, I think the one thing which really kept us going over the course of period was consistently changing. Like, these two things are so powerful, but we always, we don't do that. Because for me, particularly when I left the job, the major reason to leave the job was one more, that, whatever I learned across 7 years, what I am today is something different. So the unlearning part is very important. And we have interns in the team who are like 18, 19, 20, and they are running Mitti Ke Rang continuously from like last 2 years. And I'm learning so much from them, because as we grow, we think we know everything, but that is again a big lie. So yeah, that is the secret of how we are growing so much.
Okay, so I have those two learnings from you. Question for you. What's your personal choose to challenge? What are you challenging?
I'm choosing to challenge the apathy towards this whole gender bias. We talk so much, there is so much talk around about how much each one of us is doing, but I'm not sure if everybody is doing that much. There is more talk, and the numbers don't seem to be changing. So it means that there is a gap over there, and that is what I want to challenge. And I really want to invite myself and everyone in this room, all those people who are listening to us, to actually do something about it. And just being fond of some data, I'm again going to put out something that if we continue to work the way we are working right now for women-based issues and gender parity and equality and opportunity, we are going to take 208 years to get that. That is if we are going to continue to work like this. But I'm not sure if we are working. And do we want to reduce the 208 to something else? And like I said earlier, that in my lifetime, I want to see that. So sitting here, I definitely am choosing to challenge that. And by the work that I'm doing, by building the networks that I am building, and also replacing the word I with we, because it's just not me who's doing it. Even in my, whether it's my team or the larger network who's involved in doing this work, supporting us day in, day out, without any expectation in return. I just feel blessed, and I know that together we can do it.
And I was asking you that you actually have, as they say, not just a community, but a whole village that supports your communities, whether they're funders, whether they're incubators, whether they're capacity builders, an entire ecosystem, right? So you've created your own township. What are your quick hacks you want to share on people, on how to inspire people to build communities, and what are the top three things that they should look at and watch for?
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Right now, we've built a township, but I plan to build a whole world of that, you included. And yes, so the program that we do is not about us. We are the smallest part of that program, and we can actually be completely ignored. What really makes the program powerful is the community, the mentors who come on board and who donate their time, skills, and everything, facilitators, and all of those people. So that's what makes us powerful. And talking about hacks, I think the one most important thing is to be genuine about what you're doing. So if you have that integrity and you are delivering it day by day, you may not succeed. I don't succeed every day, and success is something which doesn't happen overnight. But if I'm genuine about what I'm doing, if everyone is genuine about what they're doing, then people see that through. And that is, I think, I don't know whether that is a hack or whatever you want to call it, but that's really important. Second is that striving day after day. So having that vision, and I always say that zoom in and zoom out, that what is it that we're looking at? What is the big picture that we want to achieve? But how are we doing it on daily basis? For a bigger picture, I just said that I want a world, but on daily basis, it's not about the world. It is just about me moving from, let's say, one society to the other or one community to the other. That's what. So so that's very important, that how you're able to look at what you're doing every day, what is the achievement of every day. And third, I think, because I come from the space of empathy, and I would say, though I should have said that that's number one, but empathy and acknowledgement is very important to yourself, to the work that you're doing, to the people who are there, and being very, very cognizant of the gaps that exist in the space that we work, and how do we fulfill them, and how are we closing those gaps. And I think these are the three things. These are not quick hacks, but I think this is what one needs to do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Renu. Amit, I started with you, and I'll come back to you with that one last quick rapid fire question of what is it that you are choosing to challenge this year for yourself personally? What's
Right.
your
So,
hashtag?
right. So, like again, consistently keep changing, because that is one of the, biggest drawback of in the mind. You can't do this, but you have to do that. So to bring oneself out of that comfort zone every time is the biggest challenge. And with this, I'll just add another quote, which we keep following: "Love me or hate me, but you can't ignore me." So every entrepreneur out there who want to bring a change or whatever you want to do, just follow this code, because people are there to tell you you're doing wrong, but you have to believe in yourself, and the result will definitely, tell everybody that, okay, this is right or this is wrong.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Amit. Thank you for your insights. Thank you, Renu. Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Mandy. Before I hand back to the organizers and to Shreya for questions, I think the kind of insights we've had in terms of how to build communities has been inspirational. And the key highlights that are about Amit talking about consistently changing, about Renu talking about the whole idea of being genuine and keep zooming in and zooming out, take stock of it. About Mandy talking about the fact that just pay it forward, want to pay it forward, ask for it, don't hesitate about it. So I think it's a very powerful learning that I'm taking away, including the three challenges that our panelists have put out, with Mandy talking about challenging unconscious biases, with Renu talking about taking away apathy towards gender, and with Amit talking about consistently change. I think that's going to be a mantra that I will take on from here. And I will end with my favorite quote, because this is the hope that my panelists give me. It's a quote from Richard Bach, and it talks about how the mark of your ignorance is the depth of your belief in injustice and tragedy. And what the caterpillar calls the end of the world, the master calls the butterfly. And to me, that encapsulates change, genuine concern, removing apathy, being about Shakti and ownership, being passionate about a cause, and constantly evolving yourself, the constantly evolving me, mine, my family and friends, and the mankind, the communities that I work with, the communities that give to me, and those that I give back to. So, Shreya, back to you.
Thank you so much, Eka. We couldn't have asked for a better start to the conference. All of you have been amazing. We have a lot of reactions from the audience attendees who are in awe of the work that all of you are doing in your respective zones. I'll take up a few questions since we have a few minutes. The first one is from Sumit. The question is for Renu. World is talking about empathy. Do you see empathy put into action by everyday action in organizations?
Thanks, Sumit, for asking that question. I think that should become part of grade 1 curriculum, that how do we see it? And just on that note, empathy is a skill that can be taught if some people say that they don't have empathy. We're standing at a point in life where we cannot move forward without empathy, and empathy in every day, whether it is at home, whether it is at organizational level or whatever. What we need to do is that we need to put ourselves out there to see how the other person is feeling or doing, and then behaving accordingly. So if we want a sustainable world, if we want to see the world that we all dream of, it's an overwhelming idea, because you remove yourself from that and you start seeing it from a third person's view. But how can we achieve that on daily basis in the organization or in our personal lives? And that is very important. And just to give you a quick example is that we talk of a sustainable world, we talk about climate change. How am I going to achieve climate change? I don't know. But can I just reduce consumption? Can I build those values in my organization or in my life to reduce that? And then, just extrapolate those values and make it a bigger thing in the organization, that these are the values that we stand by. And I think that's how we can inculcate empathy. And we must, all of us have to do it if we want to live a better future. I hope I answered that.
Thank you, Renu. Empathy can be learned is a big takeaway. The next one, maybe Amit, if you could take this one. This is by L.S. Murthy. All of you are self-made and brilliantly passionate and shared inspiring growth. Please share one innovative thought that the women entrepreneurs should focus with rigor and agility post the unprecedented pandemic dynamic markets. So, probably you and Renu can both take this up. This is your experience.
Cool. Okay. So I would again say, if you have an idea, just build in public. So that is one of the hashtag which would be trending this decade. Like, build in public. Whatever idea you have, whatever product you have been trying to produce, just go all out. Don't give time for ideation. Don't give time to think. To make strategy. Just go out, take the feedback from public, and keep improving. And in a year or so, you will grow, which you will not if you just keep thinking on the back end. So yeah.
Shreya, I missed first half of the question, so if you don't mind, can you
I'll
repeat?
repeat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So first half, he's just kind of commended your work, that you all are self-made, brilliant professionals. So he's asking that please share one innovative thought that the women entrepreneurs should focus with rigor and agility post the unprecedented pandemic.
Right. So not that it was easy before the pandemic, but post pandemic it is more difficult. But my mantra will remain the same. Just don't let people pull you down. Have faith, conviction in what you are doing, and I'm telling you that you will succeed. And Amit said it very rightly that the strategies and all of that can follow. But if you in your idea, just go ahead. People trying to tell you that this will not work. Just around and do it, and that's what I've done all that work.
Great. So last question.
Eka here.
Yeah.
Eka here. I know you haven't asked me this question, but this is something I'm very tempted to jump in with. This comes from skilling and the retail industry that I've been at earlier. What we found, and this is the work that we do with our women communities also, is that the product, the industry, or the occupation that you must pick up must come from a space of your indigenous enterprise. Now, whether that enterprise is about, because the world has moved from mass-produced, organized retail to very boutique, hand-told stories. That's where the world is going to. And your story will be the best story if it's your story of strength. Now, whether that strength be making fabulous achar, which only you know and nobody else knows how to make. So it can be as boutique a product as that. It can be about being in the services industry. It can be about being an engineer. It doesn't matter what product you pick up. I think what is going to be very critical is how well you're able to put all of you into it. So let that not be, and I know I'm committing blasphemy here, but let your area of strength or area that you want to work in, let it not be determined by what the world wants and what's cool and what I think will get me business. So let it not be outward determined, but be determined from within to know what you're passionate about, what your purpose is, what's your greatest strength, what is it that you do best, what's your personal superpower. And then my sense is that, Renu talk about empathy. Empathy will come in because then you are so full of what you are doing, want to do, that you will want your community to reflect it back to you. So yeah, sorry for buzzing it about.
No, this is
something
wonderful.
I'm very passionate about.
Thank you, Eka. This is wonderful. Just one last question. What are the most urgent problems of women of urban India that need immediate attention? This is from Sriha. So, Renu, if you want to take this up.
Yeah, I think one problem that I see that the number of educated women in urban India who are out of the workforce. If they're out of the workforce because of their own choice, I would respect it. But if they're out of the workforce because of various other circumstances, and that would take 2 pages to describe, I think there should be some sort of support for them to step out and get into the workforce. That's the first problem. The second is, I think it is a myth that the women in urban India have a lot of support and they have access to everything, whether it is trainings and any sort of, if they started their own enterprise, funding or skills, skill development or whatever. It is a complete myth, and I think everybody should work around it to empower these women to go out and achieve whatever they want to achieve.
I was about to close with this last question, which has come as a follow-up question to what you said. This is by Alan. Simply stated, how does one measure empathy in an organization?
It's a fantastic question. And I think success of an organization, if it is value-based, then I would say that that is a measure of empathy. To quantify it, it is difficult. We haven't figured it out, frankly, that how does one measure empathy numerically. But if you are succeeding, if there are individuals who are succeeding because of you, and your success is defined by the sum total of the success of the individuals you are impacting, I think it's a job well done, and it's an empathetic job.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much
Can
to
I
all
can
of
I
you.
jump in here for another
Yes,
say
yes,
another
please.
30 seconds that I want to jump in. So and building up on what Renu said. So we're doing work with a lot of large organizations on the whole concept of culture and creating safe spaces to work. And a measure of empathy in an organization, like Renu said, it's not necessarily quantifiable, but typically when you want to look at how empathetic your organization is or how people friendly it is, the factors that really help is a measure of how engaged your workforce is, how safe and positive environments you've been able to create for your employees. How honestly can you have development and growth conversations? To let go of an employee, even if it's the best performing employee, because there is something else that's a path for them. So fear-free organizations, which are safe, which are honest workplaces, and can have honest conversations on development and actually mark out the really, really well. Very well reflected by the way also in the diversity across the organization, especially as you proceed to top management. So those are usually some indicators of how empathetic an organization is, if that helps.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for beautifully summarizing this. Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Renu. Thank you, Eka, for kickstarting this conference for us and being so wonderful people that you are. I'm sure you've inspired many to join you or to get empowered to create their own communities. So thank you so much.